I'm sorry if I worded my video in a way that made it sound like I am defending rape or pro in some way.
If you somehow stumbled on internet fame and became the most lovable person in your online community, how hard would you fight to maintain that status? Well, obviously, this was mission impossible for Alex Meyers. Now, if you have been active on YouTube over the past few years, chances are that you probably know about him and how he got himself in one big mess of a drama, all because of a movie review.
$750,000 budget and it made $300 million. One of the biggest indie film success stories of all time. Now, I don't make a lot of videos about horror stuff, but I mean, a semi-rom-com about a nerdy loser guy who gets the girl at the end. Wow, this sounds like a nice, wholesome movie.
Plus, scrolling through Reddit or YouTube comment sections back when the dust first started settling, you definitely read or listened to a video with variations of statements like, "I've been watching Alex for a long time and I'm so shocked he could do this. Why is he getting so defensive over a bad movie review? That's a fake apology video, he shouldn't have bothered." People weren't just dropping casual critiques or debating movie plot holes like they usually did in his channel anymore. They were genuinely unsettled. The vibe was awkward and downright weird.
If anyone knows, you should literally have no reason to ever side with Bear throughout this entire film. But he not only missed the entire point of the film, but he chose to joke about everything within the film, including Nikki, who is clearly played by a Latina woman in Any Never Ready.
For nearly a decade, Alex Meyers had one of the safest, most bulletproof reputations on the entire internet. Think about it. This was YouTube, where almost everywhere you turn, there's an aggressive rant video or brutal call-out channels with terrible words we can't repeat.
That the original sequel didn't exist, it has earned its place above that film. Now, is it better than all the versus aliens bullshit?
But Alex was the ultimate safe haven. No scandals, no internet beef, just an awkward, soft-spoken animated guy drawing little white stick figure avatars and making lighthearted jokes about cheesy teen dramas and terrible Netflix movies.
A couple weeks ago, I made a video on the Netflix movie The Perfect Date. And in that video, I talked about how you can tell summer's right around the corner when Netflix starts bringing out all their teen rom-coms. And right after that, Netflix blessed us with yet another masterpiece, The Last Summer. And you better believe I'm here for anything and everything they got in the works, okay? Don't you worry about that.
He was basically the comfort creator of commentary YouTube. He was the channel you threw on in the background while doing homework, eating dinner, or falling asleep. Parents loved him because he didn't swear. Teenagers loved him because he made fun of cheesy plotlines in the kissing booth. And the YouTube algorithm loved him because he was as brand-friendly as a creator could possibly get. He was the wholesome golden boy who stayed entirely in his lane.
That's right, everybody. The woman his dad was cheating on his mom with is Phoebe's mom? What? Now, as you can probably imagine, this puts Griffin in a really awkward position. Of course he really likes Phoebe, because I mean, come on, she's just so adorable.
Then he dropped a review video on the movie called Obsession.
Warning, this video is an attempt at a good faith, nuanced look at the fictional movie Obsession and the characters therein, which will probably upset some of you for some reason.
Now, to be totally clear, it wasn't just because the movie itself was bad, or even because Alex dropped a questionable take during his recap. It was more because the aftermath of the review featured a lot of misses. It was the way he framed predatory behavior, the weirdly defensive way he handled the pushback, and the disastrous apology, which wasn't much of an apology, to be honest.
So, a lot's happened. I wanted to make this video because at first it was just hate on the video for Obsession, and that's fine. You can hate on it if you want. You can disagree, that's totally fine. But it has, in the past couple of days, it's devolved into personal attacks, and it's gotten to a level that I can foresee getting kind of dangerous.
Many people would have actually preferred if he never dropped that video. Well, he did, and it was downhill from there. This was the point when his whole nice guy persona started to crash faster than you can say YouTube. Now, it seems the mask has slipped, and millions of viewers are starting to wonder if the real Alex Meyers has finally been exposed, and the textbook nice guy logic hiding beneath the cartoon avatar has fallen apart.
But the one thing about his apology video that I do not think was addressed enough is the fact that he blamed his racist Latina jokes on a Latina woman that apparently wrote the jokes for him.
Let's break down the exact video that started the firestorm and how YouTube's safest creator completely blew up his own reputation. To really get why the fallout was so nuclear, you first have to understand the massive pedestal Alex Meyers was sitting on for years. Yes, he built a successful YouTube channel, but it was more of a fortress of absolute goodwill. Alex was the rare creator everybody could agree on.
I mean, of course, I'm very grateful for everyone who subscribes now. I mean, I know it's a cliche on YouTube, but I'm still small enough that I can say I do appreciate every single person who subscribes and everyone who follows on Twitter. I mean, of all the people who subscribe to me on YouTube, I've gained like 20 followers on Twitter.
When Alex started blowing up in the late 2000s and 10s, YouTube commentary was undergoing a massive shift. The dominant channels of that era were loud, aggressive, and often relied on heavy, cynical roasts or edgy humor to keep viewers hooked. If a creator reviewed a bad movie, it often involved a lot of character assassination and exaggerations. They tore down the actors, insulted the directors, dumped the script, and filled every sentence with intense swearing and over-the-top rage. Alex took the exact opposite approach, pioneering a style that felt entirely fresh simply by being gentle. He introduced a minimalist, hand-drawn animation style featuring a simple white stick figure avatar with big, expressive eyes and a soft-spoken voiceover. The visuals weren't hyper-detailed or flashy, but they were remarkably charming. He wasn't trying to flex insane artistic skills. In fact, he made his rudimentary drawing style a running gag, using self-deprecating humor to instantly break the ice with new viewers.
And now that I'm apparently an animation channel, I thought it might be a good idea to go revisit some old classics. Now, this story happened a couple years ago, back when I was young and full of dreams. I tried some online dating here and there, but nothing really, clicked. Tinder had been around for a little bit at this point, but it wasn't quite as ubiquitous as it is now. I thought, why not give it a shot? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Right, guys?
His content strategy was simple, yet brilliant. He targeted pop culture phenomena that everyone was quietly watching, but nobody was taking too seriously. He broke down plot holes in Disney Channel throwbacks like High School Musical and Camp Rock, poked fun at the absolute absurdity of CW shows like Riverdale, and recapped viral Netflix original movies like The Kissing Booth and To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Is this real life? How is this a real show on TV? Like, I can't even think of the words to say right now. I don't even know if this video is going to be all that funny because, I mean, I'm just utterly baffled. First, let's talk about the main plot point or whatever shtick MacGuffin thing of the show, which is, of course, the Black Hood.
His humor was never mean-spirited. When he pointed out how ridiculous a storyline was, it felt like a friend making jokes on the couch next to you rather than a snarky critic trying to destroy a film. He picked apart character decisions with a lighthearted chuckle, framed bizarre plot choices as harmless fun, and kept his commentary completely clean. No F-bombs and no bitter rants, and the internet absolutely loved him.
What is even happening here? Who would ever do this? Hey, I know where the murderer is. Awesome. You want to make out? Okay. Really? I mean, I get the whole, teenagers and their hormones type of thing, but, what the heck is this even supposed to be? Anyway, they get to the park and find a freshly dug grave, and we're all just supposed to accept that during the several hours it must have taken to set all this up, no one in the whole town saw someone digging a grave in the public park and thought,
Because of this clean approach, Alex rapidly became YouTube's default family-friendly commentary channel. Parents who were terrified of what their kids might stumble across online felt completely comfortable letting them binge Alex's videos for hours. Teenagers loved having a cozy, comforting space to laugh at their favorite guilty pleasure movies. Even older audiences tuned in simply because his videos provided a peaceful break from the loud noise of the rest of the internet.
in the world of teen dramas or TV shows aimed at teens in general, you can kind of sort of break it down into 3 phases or eras or whatever. You had TV shows about just teens in high school that was popular in the 90s and kind of early 2000s. You had sitcoms like Saved by the Bell, or you had teen dramas like Freaks and Geeks. And then later on, you had the supernatural teen drama era that took shape in the mid to late 2000s. And that gave us Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, Teen Wolf, Twilight, that kind of thing. Most recently, with the exploding popularity of superhero comic book movies and TV shows and all that, now we're seeing an influx of superhero-themed teen dramas, or, TV shows aimed at teens in general.
He became, for all intents and purposes, the internet's little brother. He was awkward, polite, slightly goofy, and completely non-threatening. While other commentary creators were building their brands on beefing with each other or dropping brutal call-out videos, Alex stayed entirely in his lane. He uploaded his animations, thanked his viewers, plugged his sponsor, and stayed out of the crosshairs.
But much like how the supernatural teen dramas are all pretty much like the same show, just like with different characters, you know, almost every superhero movie and TV show, like, it's really just the same show. Nerdy/outsider loser kid suddenly wakes up with abs and tries to adjust to their new life of having the physique, but none of the social skills.
This squeaky clean branding created an unprecedented level of trust between Alex and his audience. With how toxic the internet has become today, there's an entire generation that won't be able to relate to this sort of drama-free channel. Alex grew with the times, especially when he saw that he could easily move from telling stories about his personal life to discussing movies. You get 20 minutes of zero toxicity, a breath of fresh air.
Friendzone smash.
Oh no, now I have to listen to her talk about boy problems and pretend to care and give her advice for the rest of my life.
But then there has to be something crazy the internet does to you when you get to a certain level of fame. Alex could have maintained his reputation of being one of the few genuinely good guys left on YouTube. He was the last person on earth anyone expected to turn into a controversial figure. However, he picked a movie that completely ruined everything.
Character Bear. Bear is 25, according to the screenplay, and he's never outgrown his awkward high school loser persona, which means he's gonna have a great career one day as an online content creator. Hi there, welcome to Twitch. Are you mentally stuck at 15? Perfect, we're gonna put you on the front page.
And the fallout just felt like betrayal to many of his viewers. You see, millions of creators talk about pop culture online, but Alex didn't reach over 4 million subscribers simply because he pointed out plot holes in Riverdale. He reached that peak because he crafted a hyper-specific, deeply magnetic personality that made viewers feel an instant, protective connection to him.
Whoa, kid, hey, I thought maybe you just had like a fight with your girlfriend or something. Like, I didn't sign up for this guided tour of your whole life story, all right?
His entire online brand was built on a very specific recipe of awkwardness, humility, and gentle, nervous energy. Where other commentary YouTubers projected supreme confidence or hyper-intellectualism, Alex leaned hard into being a slightly confused, clumsy guy who was just trying his best. He stuttered periodically, paused mid-sentence like he was searching for the right words, and frequently made his cartoon avatar shrink or sweat on screen whenever a scene got too intense or weird.
Where it's like you're home by yourself, no parents, no stupid older brother, older sister, or whatever. You can just do whatever you want. What I was thinking about now kind of makes me laugh, because like, if I had the whole house to myself now, I mean, I'd probably just take a nap, let's be real here.
He was a master at making himself the butt of the joke. If a movie had terrible art direction, Alex wouldn't stop at criticizing the filmmakers. He would pull up a poorly drawn stick figure he made, compare it to the movie, and joke about how even he couldn't mess up a scene that badly. If a character made a cringy romantic choice, Alex would frame it through his own self-deprecating lens, joking about his own social awkwardness or how bad he was at reading human signals.
You know, Jacob, as someone who was friend-zoned by every girl in high school, I was on your side, man. But like, who you trying to fool right now? Bella, I know you're really emotionally vulnerable right now, so you think maybe like I could get past first base? Rosebud.
If someone like Mr. Beast said something absolutely crazy online, not many people would bat an eyelid about it. There are people with controversy baked into their brand identity. It's like expecting Kanye not to have a crash out at least once in a year. But when a creator whose entire identity is built on being the sweet, innocent, nice guy suddenly drops a take that reveals a bizarre, deeply out of touch or problematic worldview, the audience feels tricked.
I don't like canceling people over no reason, but I truly think that Alex Meyers' take on obsession is literally dangerous to human beings.
And that's exactly what made the Obsession review explode into a full-scale crisis. But hey, what really was going on in that movie to deserve such absolute chaos? You might be one of the few people who don't know exactly what this movie was about and probably think everyone is overreacting. So, we're going to do you a solid one with a quick look at the movie. See, Obsession isn't a cheesy Disney Channel musical about high school drama, nor is it a lighthearted Netflix rom-com like The Kissing Booth, where two attractive teenagers misunderstand each other before riding off into the sunset.
So the movie goes on. Nikki gets more and more insane. She walks around like this. She cooks up his dead cat and feeds it to him. She waits for him to come home so long that she pees herself.
It is a heavy, dark psychological thriller centered on themes of obsession, coercion, stalking, and the systematic destruction of a woman's autonomy. The antagonist of the film, Bear, isn't just an awkward guy who makes bad dating decisions. He is a deeply predatory character who spends the narrative manipulating, controlling, and harassing a woman named Nikki. Like, the entire emotional core of the story relies on recognizing Bear as a dangerous force who is stripping a victim of her agency. Now, that's who Alex said wasn't so terrible.
Like, it really seems like some of you want him to be a horrible, incel, intentionally malicious guy, regardless of what actually happens in the movie.
But let's also take a moment to look at how he chooses to depict the female characters using his animation. Many people pointed out how they look super weird and over-sexualized. Maybe he would have gotten away with this extreme attempt to be super funny if the theme of the movie had been something less serious and not about actual violence, but it was pretty much a miss in every way, including the wordings and visuals.
Ah, yes, the ancient year of 1992. But more importantly, so here we get a look into the dynamics of the whole friend group, okay? So Ian is kind of like a douche, right? Nikki seems like one of those girls who's one of the guys, you know? And Bear has a huge crush on Nikki, even though Sarah over here is clearly into Bear on some level, and he just, like, doesn't notice, doesn't care. So Bear's choices are Crystal Mommy or Septum Girl. So like, this dude never stood a chance. Like, you might as well put that chastity belt in your Amazon cart right now, my dude.
When Alex sat down to recap Obsession, he approached it using the exact same formula he used for lighthearted teen comedies. But instead of coming across as funny, his commentary took a deeply unsettling, tone-deaf turn this time. Instead of recognizing Bear as a predatory antagonist, Alex routinely framed him as a misunderstood guy who just made some clumsy romantic choices.
How did you get into these?
Little backstory. So Bear's living in his grandma's house who recently passed away. So, you know, it's full of all kinds of grandma stuff like insanely racist paperweights. As you might imagine, Bear's got a lot on his mind. His cat died. He has no idea how to ask out Nikki. He's walking around with this haircut like my dude can't catch a break. So it's Wednesday night, which means trivia night, because Bear and his friends are super cool. The team is Bear, Ian, Nikki, and their other friend Sarah. And they all work together at this like music shop place, which seems to have a lot of employees for a random store on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
The particular moment that officially set the internet on fire occurred during a scene where Bear encounters Nikki while she is clearly incapacitated, under the influence, and entirely unable to consent. Bear proceeds to touch her and kiss her while she is completely out of it. But instead of calling out the scene for what it clearly was, Alex paused the footage, popped his cartoon avatar onto the screen, and delivered a defense that left viewers stunned. He blamed the victim.
Now, okay, up to this point, I feel like Bear has plausible deniability. I mean, there's no way he would have known the cheap toy would work. He was genuinely concerned for Nikki the day after it started, and he refused to take advantage of her even when it was, like, presented to him, right? I mean, she kissed him after all, right? Now, right here, though, at the halfway point of the movie,
Alex literally stood in front of an audience of millions and declared that a man who actually touches an incapacitated woman is rather gentlemanly simply because he didn't escalate to full-blown rape. Well, that's a lot of audacity. Plus, to make matters worse, Alex actively chopped out the most damning, horrific scenes of Bear's in his final edit. He omitted the scenes where Bear attempts to manipulate Nikki's life choices to isolate her, cut out the moments where Bear explicitly refuses to free Nikki from his psychological torture, and completely skipped the scenes where Bear willingly risks Nikki's safety just to maintain control over her.
like, you have to look at the context, okay? If Bear had gone to the store specifically and been like, hey, do you have something that'll force a girl to fall in love with me? Or if he, like, searched on the internet for some kind of, like, weird ritual that's gonna make anyone fall in love with you, then yeah, that's some funky stuff, man. Or, like, later on, we find out that maybe Ian and Nikki have been hooking up, right? But Bear doesn't learn this until the very end of the movie. So, like, for example, if he'd found this out at the beginning of the movie and he was like, oh, so Nikki's just some slut that bangs every guy except me, huh? Well, I'll show you. Then yeah, he'd be like some misogynistic incel. But for at least half of the movie, he has no idea that this would work. And in fact, he's concerned for Nikki when she does change.
Now, all these might seem like harmless editing and simply leaving out a few key details. However, Alex used it to create a false reality to force his narrative that Bear was just a socially awkward, chivalrous guy. Yes, he was talking about the guy deliberately named Bear in this story.
To me, at least, it totally seems like a fanfic or whatever that he thinks would have no way of actually coming true. I'm not saying Bear is a blameless, innocent victim, okay? But I think some of you are a little too quick to attach motivation and subtext to this character that is not based on the movie. Like, it really seems like some of you want him to be a horrible, incel, intentionally malicious guy, regardless of what actually happens in the movie.
The moment the video hit subscriber feeds, the comment section exploded into pure chaos. Once upon a time, his comments would be filled with laughing emojis and people dropping relatable stories to his videos. With this review, though, there were just paragraphs and paragraphs of utter disbelief. Critics on Reddit and Twitter immediately began dissecting the review, pointing out that downplaying non-consensual behavior and calling it gentlemanly was a dangerous textbook nice guy logic. Reaction channels on YouTube and TikTok picked up the story, highlighting how Alex had edited out the film's most abusive scenes just to make his bizarre argument work.
And throughout his review or his analysis, he chooses to pinpoint certain things like certain scenes and certain moments and kind of like flip them around in a more comedic way. But he also chooses to side with Bear all throughout the film. If anyone knows, you should literally have no reason to ever side with Bear throughout this entire film. But
Viewers who had experienced real-world stalking or assault expressed feeling deeply uncomfortable watching YouTube's safest animator minimize sexual violence for cheap jokes. Within 48 hours, the video was a full-blown internet scandal. Of course, Alex could see all this unfolding in real time. You can't expect a YouTube creator not to be chronically online. So, he decided to drop another video, this time an apology, and this was the absolute turning point of the entire saga.
So, a lot's happened. I wanted to make this video because at first it was just hate on the video for Obsession, and that's fine. You can hate on it if you want. You can disagree, that's totally fine. But it has, in the past couple of days, it's devolved into personal attacks, and it's gotten to a level that I can foresee getting kind of dangerous. Some of the things some of you are doing and saying is it's gone beyond just the video, and now it's become rather serious.
When a creator faces that level of universal pushback, the standard move is to step back, listen, and offer a clear, accountable response. Instead, Alex released a follow-up apology video that completely destroyed whatever grace his audience was still willing to give him. Sitting on camera with his phone in hand, Alex opened the apology part of his response with a phrase straight out of the bad PR playbook. "I'm sorry if I worded my video in a way that made it sound like..."
I'm sorry if I worded my video in a way that made it sound like I am defending or pro in some way. That is very much not the intention of the video.
The phrase, "I'm sorry if," instantly signaled to his audience that he didn't actually believe he had done anything wrong. He wasn't taking ownership of his words, but was implying that his audience was simply too sensitive or illiterate to understand his brilliant critique. It was pretty much, "Hey guys, I'm sorry you're too dumb to get my video review." He then attempted to justify editing out Bear's abusive actions by casually claiming he omitted those scenes because the video was getting too long and because he had already said Bear was bad earlier in the recap. He honestly believed his audience was upset over a simple formatting issue rather than the fact that he reframed sexual assault as chivalry.
Bear is the villain. Bear does many, many bad things. I elected to not show every single bad thing he did because A, the video was already very long, and B, I had already said that he was bad, so I didn't feel the need to show every example of that because I tried to make it clear that from like the diner scene onward, he is bad.
To make matters worse, Alex shifted the video's focus entirely to himself, spending a large portion of the runtime detailing the negative comments and threats he was receiving. That's right, he played the classic victim card. So it was pretty much a video where he saw himself as the main victim of a chaotic mob and completely dodged accountability for the harmful statements he made in his original upload.
I knew people would disagree, but as I said at the beginning of this video, it's gotten to the point where it's not just disagreeing about my thoughts on the movie, but now it's gotten to a point where people are spreading complete lies about me, and from the DMs I'm getting and from what I've seen, it's getting to a point where it could become like very real.
So, at this point, more people are confused. The apology video made him appear defensive. Alex refused to acknowledge the actual substance of the criticism and instead saw the pushback as an unfair attack. He also dismissed the severe concerns about consent as some kind of misunderstanding over the video getting too long. But then we all know he could have found a way to put those scenes in. Finally, the whole passive-aggressive outlook was a little too much for the viewers. He basically accused them of reacting in bad faith rather than responding to his own explicit words.
So just to clear things up, assault is bad. Bear is bad. What Bear does in the movie, very bad. Bear is the villain of the movie. I think I said this in the video. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. That's my fault.
However, when the apology failed to stop the bleeding, Alex pulled the ultimate cover-up. Both the apology video and the review video were suddenly nowhere to be found. He deleted the apology video, wiped the original Obsession review from his channel, locked his remaining video comments behind subscriber-only paywalls, and went completely quiet. By the way, at the risk of playing the devil's advocate, we do have to admit that after spending almost the entire video justifying Bear's actions, Alex left a few minutes at the end to say, yeah, Bear is the bad guy, but then again, it's almost as if he forgot how the internet works. For instance, someone who has had to sit through more than 15 minutes of watching Alex rationalizing a villain's actions may likely not stay till the last few seconds to hear anymore.
Congrats, y'all, nailed it. Now again, I need to be very clear here, okay? Ultimately, Bear is the bad guy. He doesn't know what he did until late in the movie, but when he figures it out, he just keeps on rationalizing to himself because, like, he wants Nikki, and he doesn't seem to really care that she's being tortured the whole time, but rather he wants the demon to just act like Nikki so that he can pretend that he's actually dating Nikki, you know? Like, this is a bad dude. Yes, absolutely.
At the end of the day, the craziest thing Alex did with the movie review was to create enemies for himself and give those who never really liked his style of video something to say about his online persona. Now, more comments have come out about how his movie reviews have always been shallow without really paying attention to the storyline. Another thing is that a first glance at his channel doesn't really point to someone that loves any of the movie he reviews. Instead, it's always a topic that you know is going to feature a review talking about all the bad sides of the movie. And yes, this controversy brought out comments like this too. Apart from this, some people are pointing out that his attitude has been off for a long time. I mean, the consensus is that Alex has never been good with criticism. Of course, it's not possible for everyone to like his videos, and that's the beauty of being human beings. We get to disagree and spend so much time arguing different points like there's nothing better to do. But now, it's looking like he doesn't want to hear anything that goes against his opinion when he talks about any movie, because at the point where he was supposed to stop talking, Alex had more texts about how lots of other true crime podcasts fairly examine actual criminals. Really, dude, what sort of comparison is that? How could you try to justify the points you made in a video millions of people have watched by comparing it to reviews about the lives of actual bad guys? This whole controversy was never truly about whether Alex liked a specific Netflix movie. It became about how he handled disagreement. Like, the moment he was confronted with genuine pushback, the soft, humble, self-deprecating persona vanished, replaced by a defensive, fragile ego that couldn't handle taking real responsibility. So, at this point, everyone is questioning everything about the guy behind the avatar. Who really is Alex Meyers? Once the initial shock of the Obsession review and its defensive apology faded, a fascinating, chaotic shift happened across the internet. Some self-appointed investigators went to work, digging deep through his archive. They hit the search bar, opened videos from 2018 and 2019, and started rewatching old uploads with a completely new set of eyes, desperately searching for patterns they had missed.
Guys, we are missing the big picture in the Alex Meyers cancellation. Forget obsession, forget misogyny. He needs to be canceled because the man didn't understand Wreck-It Ralph. Cancel dumb men 2026. Women, you're good. You're good.
Suddenly, commentary channels and Reddit threads were filled with people pulling old clips to build a retrofitted narrative about who Alex Meyers had been all along. Viewers began making claims that would have sounded absurd just 6 months before that disastrous movie review. Some people claimed that Alex has always talked down to female characters in his older rom-com reviews. Others claimed that he had never been the kind of person to handle genuine criticism without losing his mind.
No, it doesn't shock me that Alex Meyers is misogynistic. I've known this man was misogynistic since he praised the movie 500 Days of Summer. Now, don't get me wrong, 500 Days of Summer is a great movie, but he doesn't praise any movie.
Every sarcastic joke he had ever made about a female protagonist making a silly decision was suddenly reanalyzed as evidence of deep-seated misogyny. It was, goodbye, Mr. Nice Guy, and welcome, you arrogant online superstar. The personality change was definitely fast. Someone even went as far as saying that they stopped watching Alex because he actually slut-shamed characters aimed at girls. This is, no doubt, a huge accusation. Of course, his loyal defenders pushed back hard against this sudden wave of armchair psychology. Longtime fans flooded the internet with their pushback, arguing that people were completely losing their minds. Their comeback was that everyone was reading way too too much into one bad interaction, especially for someone who has uploaded hundreds of videos over nearly a decade without a single issue. But yeah, we have to admit that it only takes one review for everything to fall apart, and Alex is a witness to that.
I tried to make it clear that from like the diner scene onward, he is bad. So what he does is bad.
That's another lesson from the internet we all must learn. I mean, when people watch a creator for years, it seems like they already know everything about this person, and they are pretty much best friends at that point. Alex never showed his real face, never swore, and always spoke with a gentle, self-depreciating cadence. But millions of viewers built an imaginary version of who he was in their heads. They projected absolute purity, patience, and moral perfection on a guy who was, at the end of the day, just a human being writing funny scripts about bad movies in his room.
You know, something I noticed about these movies is like the way they handle foreshadowing is really odd. I mean, of course, pretty much every movie or TV show or whatever, like they use foreshadowing to some degree, but the Twilight movies just literally tell you the entire plot. Like in the second movie, the whole first half hour or so is spent talking about Romeo and Juliet, which is the exact plot of the movie.
Now, let's try to understand this from an everyday point of view. Everyone working in a quiet corporate office knows at least one person who is the absolute nicest coworker on the team. They bring homemade donuts on Monday mornings. They absolutely won't forget anyone's birthday, and of course, come with gifts. No one has ever heard them speak badly about a colleague or talk over anyone in staff meetings. So, they've done this for 5 straight years, and suddenly, one Tuesday afternoon, they snap. During a slightly stressful meeting about a missed deadline, they slam a folder on the table, go into a major rant at the manager, and storm out of the office. Of course, there will be some concerns about what could have led to that point, but more people will start to wonder if they couldn't handle hiding this part of themselves anymore. Now, you're all asking if that coworker is just a fake. Get the picture?
This whole Alex Meyers situation with his obsession review is so ironic because I knew this day was gonna come. I knew it was gonna come.
We just can't handle the idea of a perfect person acting flawed, so we scramble to make the story make sense again. And that's possibly what's happening with Alex Meyers. He just couldn't hold on to the nice guy personality anymore. Also, if you zoom out past the comment sections, past the video essays, and past Alex Meyers himself, and you uncover the structural trap that eventually claims almost every wholesome figure on the internet, they are overwhelmed by the sheer, suffocating weight of maintaining an unblemished reputation.
Hello everybody and good evening. My name is Alex and this is Charlie. Say hello, Charlie. Okay, I was trying everything. I was doing video game stuff, I was doing story times, I was doing skits, I was doing fake movie trailers, I was doing everything. Everything you can imagine, I tried.
At this point, I'll say that being an edgy, controversial creator on the internet is actually remarkably easy from a brand management standpoint. If your whole identity is built on hot takes, loud arguments, and constant friction, your audience expects you to mess up. You can get into a messy Twitter argument on a Tuesday, drop a half-baked rant on a Thursday, and your view counts won't drop a single digit because your audience subscribes specifically to watch a train wreck. Conflict is your fuel.
And it's so interesting to see the journey and just how, like, you know, one video can really change like everything. Doesn't even matter if it's really all that good or not.
However, Alex Meyers built his multi-million subscriber empire on the hardest foundation imaginable. He built it on being liked by everyone. His entire brand was the innocent guy, and that left zero margin for human error. Nothing like a bad week. He can't write a script when he's feeling cynical, and he definitely can't play around too much controversy, which the existence of this video in the first place has shown that he did. All it took was a tone-deaf review of a sensitive movie, followed by a distasteful apology video to put massive cracks in the foundation he spent about a decade building.
In a way, you know, because it's like on the one hand, thinking back in my life, like I've gone through a lot. I mean, I was homeless. I was like surviving on, mayonnaise and ketchup for like a week.
I mean, there are a lot of questions to answer with this entire Alex Meyers saga. One of them is if Alex changed as a person when he dropped that obsession review, or was that who he has always been? The reality likely sits somewhere in the quiet middle. Alex was never a monster hiding behind a cartoon drawing, nor was he the flawless, saintly internet little brother his audience imagined him to be. He was simply a guy who got famous by making lighthearted jokes about Disney movies, who eventually hit a topic far too complex for his simple commentary formula, made a profoundly out-of-touch statement, and let his ego take over instead of simply expressing empathy over such a sensitive situation. That's just about the summary of it all. Anyways, beyond all these, what about Alex's reputation right now? If you look strictly at his channel metrics, subscribers, and view counts today, the answer isn't as simple as a clear yes or no. So, don't answer it immediately by looking at surface numbers. Of course, it looks like many people were waiting for this little slip-up. That's just the toxic cycle of internet culture, and that's why the fall of a nice guy always feels 10 times bigger. But that's not the reality with Alex. The Obsession review didn't destroy Alex Meyers' career. He still has millions of subscribers. His uploads still pull in hundreds of thousands of views from casual audiences who just want to watch funny animated recaps, completely oblivious to the Reddit threads or reaction videos dissecting his character. It also seems like the controversy has drawn more people towards his channel, and that's not so shocking. He will continue to upload, he will continue to draw his little white avatars, and his channel will keep running.
Well, looks like it's time once again for another exciting episode of
Allegedly grown man watching a kid's show.
Here we are again, Alex. A grown man like you watching a movie made for teenagers. How can you even look at yourself in the mirror every morning?
I don't. Have you seen how I dress most of the time?
Answer the question.
But the controversy did destroy something else. It destroyed the fragile illusion that the nicest guy on YouTube could never have a deeply flawed, out of touch, or defensive moment. It stripped away the unconditional benefit of the doubt his audience were used to giving him automatically. Now, everyone is looking for patterns that confirm this new idea of who Alex is. And finally, the ultimate question is, do you think it's time for everyone to move on from this saga? Or should Alex be canceled forever? The internet will forever be divided over this question.